So what makes a woman suddenly commit? Sometimes you find yourself in a very precarious situation. You've been chasing this particular individual for a really long time. For some reason, she's never given you the attention you deserve. And then suddenly, out of the blue, here she is, ready for a relationship. What do you do? And how do you handle it? That's what this video seeks to solve. Now, there could be several reasons why a woman who was previously uninterested in you might suddenly commit to beginning a new full-fledged relationship. Here are a few possibilities. And in this video, I'm going to jump right into it. So number one is due to external pressures. Now, sometimes people might feel pressure from friends, from family, from, just society to commit to someone even if they're not initially interested. There are too many women in the world today who are stuck in relationships they would rather not be in. Unfortunately for them, they kowtow to external pressures. For example, they might feel like they're getting older, and they need to settle down, or that they'll be judged if they don't have a partner or are perceived as single. In many parts of the world, women bear the full brunt of societal pressure when it comes to relationships and marriage. And so you can really understand. And many relationships are broken down just because of this very reason. They settle down because they feel pressured to and not because they want to. Now, whether you admit it or not, societal expectations can weigh heavy on your shoulders and can force the most rational thinking woman to begin to think irrationally. Number two is a change in perspective. So sometimes people's feelings and perspectives can change over time. Someone who was initially uninterested in another person might start to see them in a different light as they get to know them a bit better or as circumstances change. For example, they might realize that they have more in common than they initially thought, or that they appreciate certain qualities about the other person that they didn't recognize before. Now, a lot of these changes can happen as you continue to spend time together as friends. And that's why I often would not go straight out to tell our men to not sometimes accept friendship from women as a starter. Things like proximity and frequent exposure can quickly develop into feelings of love and acceptance. As a side note, have you ever wondered why people you see very frequently start to look good in your eyes? Have you ever wondered why colleagues begin to look better to you over time? Now, the simple reason is due to frequent exposure. Number three, fear of missing out. So sometimes people might commit to another person because they fear missing out on a potentially great relationship. They might feel like they don't want to let the other person go without giving things a chance, or might worry that they'll regret not pursuing the relationship later on. The fear of missing out is commonly referred to as FOMO. Now, it's a feeling of anxiety or unease that arises when we believe that we might be missing out on an exciting or important experience or an opportunity that others might be experiencing. Now, FOMO often arises from social comparison. You're comparing yourself to others and feeling like you're missing out on something important. FOMO can be fueled by social media, where we're constantly bombarded with images and updates on people's lives and activities. Looks like everybody's getting married these days, for instance. This can create a sense of pressure to participate in certain experiences or events in order to, feel like you're connected. While FOMO can sometimes motivate us to try new things or push ourselves out of our comfort zones, it can also be detrimental to our mental health and well-being if we constantly feel like we're missing out on something or if we're constantly comparing ourselves to others. Everybody's different. The fourth reason is desire for companionship. Some people might commit to another person because they crave companionship or are tired of being alone. They might not be head over heels in love with the person, but they appreciate having someone to spend time with and share experiences with as well. Will such a person ever fall in love? Big question. Only time will tell. I will, however, not completely rule out the possibility of that happening. Some people say, go into a relationship with your head and not your heart, right? Other people will say the opposite. At the end of the day, it's entirely up to you and how you decide to wing the situation. The fifth reason could be her next best option fell through. So perhaps the guy she was hoping would ask her out didn't. and possibly went along with some other girl. Or he may be taking more time than she anticipated to come around or to notice her. Or she probably has come to the realization that she and this mystery guy will never be. And so she suddenly had an epiphany that you were the next best choice. A simple question I ask here is, would you want to be someone's second fiddle? I mean, that's an answer that only you can give. Now let's look at some steps that you need to take. If someone suddenly commits to you and you're not sure how you feel about them because they didn't from the, onset or from the start, give you positive vibes, right? Now definitely do this. A, assess your feelings. Take some time to reflect on how you feel about the person. Do you feel excited? Do you feel happy about the idea of being in that relationship, knowing that they didn't choose you from the get-go? Or do you feel hesitant and unsure? It's important to be honest about how you're feeling, okay? B is to communicate. It's important to have an open and honest conversation with this person. Let her know how you're feeling about her sudden change of heart and how you need time to process things. Be clear and direct about your boundaries and your expectations. Now, C is to take time for yourself. Give yourself some space, give yourself some time to really think things over. It's important to make sure that you're not making any decisions out of pressure or obligation, okay? D is to revisit the conversation. Once you've had some time to think things over, revisit the conversation with another person. Let them know how you're feeling and whether or not you're interested in actually going into this relationship. Be kind, be respectful, but also be clear about your feelings and boundaries. If you're feeling like second fiddle, it's most likely, and I hate to say this, it's most likely because you are. Let's wrap up this video. In conclusion, right? It's unfair for anyone, and women for that matter, to commit to a relationship with you when they know that they're deep down like they're not interested, right? Yet we see this happen over and over again. After all is said and done, it usually is very easy to make a decision. Anything apart from a definite yes, and without a blink or a stutter, is a big cause for concern and can cost you a lot down the road. So I would say, if someone doesn't make you their first choice, don't be in a hurry to make them yours. Something for you to ponder on. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you in the next one. My name is Jessica.